All right. Hey, how's it going? I'm Kris, an intern with Marshall Online, here with the Student Advisory Council for Marshall Online, and had a few questions to ask you guys. To get started, you guys want to give an introduction and maybe tell us about your major?
Ginger, you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Ginger. I am an online student with the Lewis College of Business. So I'm doing as a business major, and I do live in West Virginia. And I'm great. I love being here. I love doing this.
All right. My name's Bert. I actually live in Kentucky, just over the river. Um, I'm also in the Lewis College of Business for general business, finishing up a management minor. Got 6 or 7 classes left, so the light at the end of the tunnel is getting bigger for sure.
Nice. Hello, everyone. My name is Lalisha Johnson, and I'm the Student Engagement Coordinator here with Marshall Online. And I work very closely with our Student Advisory Council. And I'm just excited to be here, part of this conversation today.
I've been in retail for 20 to 25 years now. And as that business has evolved and online recruiting, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, pick your particular recruiting third party, it is increasingly difficult to get get myself in front of a team or an organization that I might be able to benefit because I can't check a box on a resume, and that box is a bachelor's degree. There isn't anything in retail I haven't done outside of high finance and accounting, because I'm not that guy. But if I can't check that box, my resume, my name never goes past a nice LinkedIn account, if you know what I mean. So the impetus for my finishing my business degree was to keep myself visible to those individuals and those organizations, and to to be honest, that and to check off a bucket list thing. Getting my degree was important to me. One of my daughters is a nurse. My wife has her degree. Kind of wanted to join the club, if you know what I mean.
Same reason for me. I went back to school to be able to check that box off. I've run into the problem of being overlooked for promotions, even though I have more experience than that person with the degree. I'm still being overlooked for it just because I do not have that piece of paper. And I chose Marshall Online because it allows me to work around my schedule, my full-time work schedule, kids in their extracurricular activities, which is a lot. Thankfully, this year, though, my son had graduated high school last year, so I only have one that I'm running for currently, which helped tremendously. But being able to do my classes online and work around the schedule has been amazing.
Can you walk us through a typical day in the life of an online student? Like, how do you balance your coursework with other responsibilities, and how does the online format support or challenge your daily routine?
Well, I can tell you that planning is everything, and working that plan is the key to success. Just like Ginger mentioned, my youngest just graduated high school, and I have a 3-year-old grandchild. So we're still pretty busy, even with the extracurriculars. So a clear syllabus, a clear plan, and sometimes it's a late night, sometimes it's an early morning, sometimes it's at lunch. Breaking it up into small pieces, and staying on top of the list and the dates and things is how I manage that success, if that makes sense.
Kind of the same. I carry my laptop with me everywhere. If I'm at an extracurricular activity and they're on break, I'm reading or I'm doing homework or I'm checking in on my email, making sure that I'm up to date on stuff. If it's a tournament, which is just like this Saturday, we have volleyball tournaments and I'm going to be there all day. Yes, I will have my laptop. Yes, I will be doing my homework. And that's the beauty of the online environment and being able to work around that, to take it with me and do it when I can.
What are the biggest challenges you faced while learning online? I know for myself, it's a scheduling issue. So being able to have something, always on is super beneficial.
Yeah, for me, the challenges are really based on the particular professor in class and how they structure their syllabus and their requirements. Some professors are exceptionally lenient about due dates and time frames about material being covered and whatnot. Like my statistics professor that I'm in right now is exceptionally generous. I don't think anything is technically due until the end of the semester. So you're allowed to submit, get it graded, get some feedback, take that feedback, reassess where your weaknesses might be, resubmit, and really learn the material. Versus, unfortunately, I've also ran into some professors that run it as if we were still in session, in person, where the classwork is due Monday through Friday. Everything's got to be turned in either Friday by midnight or Sunday by midnight. And while the structure is great, it's not very conducive to working 45, 50 hours a week, managing extracurriculars, managing family, and all the other sorts of things, if that makes sense. So that's I guess that would be the advantages and disadvantages in the same answer.
Ginger, what about
you? I'm kind of the opposite. I like that structure. I like to know when my due date is because it helps me keep on track. If I was able to get everything turned in at the end of the semester, what happens? Nothing gets turned in until then. And I am last minute ready to pull out my hair wondering what I'm going to do. So I, every Sunday, sit down and I make a schedule. I schedule out what is due in each class, the due date for that class that week, and then I sit down and look at what I have going on in my life as far as the extracurricular activities, when I can do this class, when I can do the other class, things like that. The scheduling helps me, and knowing when my due date is helps me as well. It keeps me on track. It makes me turn those things in.
I got you. Yeah, that being able to balance that work and school life is challenging in and of itself. So having a online always on thing is super beneficial. So what specific resources and supports have been the most valuable to you as an online student? How have these tools, whether academic, technical, or personal, helped you succeed? And are there any additional resources you wish were available?
The short answer would be emailing a professor is, online students don't have to worry about office hours. We don't have to worry about schedule unless we need a face-to-face for a more detailed conversation. Typically, generalized questions and clarifications can be emailed. And I haven't had a professor yet that doesn't get back to me within 24, 48 hours. I mean, if I'm working on something at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, I don't expect an answer until the following Monday, because I don't know, that's just my expectation. The one of the resources I wish we had a little bit more access to is sort of I don't want to say the reverse of that, but student to student, classmate to classmate interaction. Like, we don't go to the library and sit down and say, okay, what'd you get for this and what'd you get for that, and who understands this, and can you walk me through it? Unfortunately, the online platform, at least now in its infancy as it is, that tool doesn't exist as far as I know. Now, I could be wrong. I could have missed it, overlooked it. But class discussion is I think an opportunity.
The resources that I have utilized would be, the greatest resource I've utilized is my advisor. Anything that I have a question about education wise, I just ask my advisor. If I have a question about my schedule, what classes to take. Just for instance, this semester, our meeting getting ready to register for spring classes, she was able to actually point out that I could add 2 more minors. So now I will have 3 minors. I will have a communications, a marketing, and a management minor. So just her pointing that out to me, I feel has helped, because I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known to take what classes to take, or that I could earn these minors. Another resource would have to be the Career Education Center. They were a wonderful resource whenever I did a mock interview with them for a communications class. And she was wonderful with talking to me about what my goal was after graduation, helping me with a resume, sending me examples, following up with me. So those are two resources that I would have everyone utilize.
In the world of today's internet, there's not much you really can't find. You know, if it's literature I need for a class, or a reference or source material for a discussion question or a case study, it's fairly easy to come across. You know what I mean? Google is your friend. Trust but verify, of course. To Ginger's point, but Google is your friend. If I know I'm struggling with something, having the opportunity to discuss it with another classmate in that same class might help clarify the issue. If there was a vehicle for that, I know it'd be a classroom by classroom specific sort of thing, I'm sure. But that's about the only thing that I'm really missing. My advisor's great as well. I failed to mention that. But that's really about it that I can think of, to be honest.
Well, speaking to the student-to-student communication and whatnot that Bert shared a moment ago, how connected do you guys feel to the Marshall University community as an online student? And are there additional ways we can enhance your sense of belonging and strengthen your connection to the university?
In full transparency, I could, as close as I am, given the fact that I'm right across the river, I could be as connected as I want to be. So my connection level at this moment in time is purely personal. If I wanted to go to a football game or a basketball game, I could manage my way there for sure. Now, I'm not going to use the gym facilities. I'm probably not going to use the library unless it's for something exceptionally specific that I can't find online. I physically go to the bookstore every semester to get my books and a new sweatshirt or a new hat or a keychain or something for the grandkid or whatever. But mine, it's all there, either online or in the physical space. That involvement isn't something that Marshall manages. That involvement is on me. I don't feel excluded if that's more what we're looking for. And the inclusion is all on how comfortable I am.
I would have to say that the one thing that I maybe would like to see is that when, like the clubs, the student clubs, the sororities, the fraternities, things like that, I have not seen anything offered for online students. No one's ever reached out to say, hey, you could be a part of this, even though you're online. It seems to be that all of those are for students that are physically there at the campus. So if we could see more of that, that would be a great opportunity for students.
I did also want to ask, if you think back to some of your business courses or some of the gen ed courses that you've taken in the online space, if there was a professor that went above and beyond, or they had some teaching tool or did something in their course that really stood out to you, if you can think about that and share that, that would be fantastic. And then just think about, before we log off, any other general feedback that you would love to give to our faculty just regarding your general online learning experience. Like, what's been great? Like, you shared a lot of that, or what can we do better? And what can we improve upon? Because you're in this space and you're learning, and we want to make sure that you have an impactful learning experience with us. So if you could just take a second just to unpack something that stood out to you, or just any other general feedback, that would be super helpful as we try to improve and as we try to grow.
The professor that stood out to me is the business law professor I had. That was Professor Baker. He, like I said, he just had that passion, and it made me. I wanted to learn history. I've never wanted to learn history of the Constitution or anything like that. So him being that engaging pulled me in. I would like to see, with the online community, like I said, more clubs available, or more of those that are in person, offering it to those online and making that available to them. As far as that, that's really all. I'm just really excited to see what we can do with the online space for the future students.
I guess not having a professor necessarily that stands out is probably a good thing, because I haven't had a bad one, really, if that makes sense. There was a class that was structured in a manner that I was not successful in. but I wasn't successful. I don't expect a professor to change how they go about their day. So, but the advising team was I was able to withdraw without a penalty, reassess, get it on my docket with a different professor, and I'm successful. Going back to the expanding on the club thing just a little bit, if there was a space on the Marshall Online Connection where it was a clearinghouse or its own social network where I could hop onto the online connection and say, hey, is there anybody taking this class with this professor? Like to get together for maybe a Teams meeting and talk about this assignment that's due, or one of those things. I haven't had any group project material yet.
I love that you said that, Bert, because on the Online Student Connection, the discussion space is absolutely, that's what that is for. So you absolutely can do that. So
then
yes,
that's a messaging thing. I need to look.
yes.
I need to take the responsibility to look into that a
Oh
little
no,
bit
that is your space. So we can absolutely do that.
and then bring that to the forefront just a little bit, because that's I think that would be tremendous.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we have for you guys. Thank you again for all your input and the time. We appreciate you.